Northumbria and Newcastle City Council are holding a news conference. Let's join them now.
Throughout this incredibly gruelling process, many of us will never understand the traumatic experience that some of them have endured, and they have my wholehearted commitment that together with our partners, we will continue to provide them with all the support they need. From the outset, this has been about doing what is right and placing victims at the heart of the investigation. We have proactively sought out victims of abuse to protect them. We've done this together with our partners from the local authority and with a number of voluntary agencies. We have sought, through the brand of Operation Sanctuary, to raise public awareness here in the North East of the problem of not just child sex exploitation, but the wider problem of the sexual exploitation of vulnerable women and girls and human trafficking. We have enlisted and received the support of licensed premises, late-night refreshment premises, taxi drivers, hotels, B&Bs, as well as the general public. We have literally thrown the kitchen sink at this. A team of 50 officers have worked on this inquiry for almost 3.5 years and continue to do so. We have not and will not stop. We've employed every technique available to us, covert and overt, in tackling the problem. We have been transparent in our approach, and where we encountered misconduct on the part of a police officer who had completely failed in his duty, he was dismissed. Whilst nothing is perfect in an operation of this magnitude, I am content that we have worked to the very best of our professional ability. Let me be clear, there has been no political correctness here. These are criminals, and there has been no hesitation in arresting them and targeting them using all of the means at our disposal. It is for individual communities, perhaps, to ask themselves whether they're doing all they can to eradicate such attitudes and behaviour, so that the stigma and shame attached to such people prevents it from rearing its head again. The communities that we work with are appalled at this offending, and we have encountered nothing other than the fullest support from all of them. I mentioned earlier the complex nature of this case, and those of you that followed the trials will know of the behaviour of a police informant known as XY. XY was an authorised covert human intelligence source, an informant, who was able to report on criminality, including child sex exploitation. He was a convicted rapist, and to some of us, the thought of the police engaging with such a person and paying them for information may appear morally repugnant. However, he proved that he was in a position whereby he could and did alert police to situations which allowed them to prevent offending and provide safeguarding measures towards potential victims. The lawful and regulated use of such tactics is always overseen by a senior police officer and is also subject to the review of an independent body. Furthermore, in this case, the handling of XY by Northumbria Police was the subject of an independent investigation by the Independent Police Complaints Commission, in which no misconduct was found nor any recommendations made whatsoever. In the case of XY, it is clear that his relationships with others have allowed the police to prevent and detect some of the more serious crimes occurring in our communities. This would not have been possible through conventional methods. The sexual exploitation of vulnerable people is, in my opinion, the challenge of our generation. It is a huge task that we are faced with. To date, Operation Sanctuary has been the most complex investigation in this force's history, and it has not stopped. There is a wider debate to be had as to how this is going to be tackled moving forward. Firstly, for this challenge to be overcome, there needs to be a high likelihood that offenders will be caught and victims supported. Sitting here today, I am confident that we are getting this right. We will never stop pursuing those responsible, and we will throw everything we can at them, and we will catch them. Secondly, we need a heavy sanction that acts as a clear deterrent and to deliver punishment to those vile individuals that prey upon the vulnerable. Thirdly, and perhaps most importantly, it has to become socially unacceptable in every community to behave in this way. Given the number of men that we have arrested, 461 in total, clearly somewhere along the line something has gone wrong if it has become acceptable to entice through alcohol, drugs, or just through bullying and violence, vulnerable people into sex. This behaviour can never be tolerated. Thank you.
Newcastle City Council has worked closely with Northumbria Police and others since the start of Operation Sanctuary over 3 years ago. Our priority has and always will be to protect and support the victims, regardless of whether or not they testify against their perpetrators. My heart goes out to all those affected by the heinous crimes which Operation Sanctuary has exposed. And I want to pay tribute to the victims for the courage they have shown in giving evidence which has helped put many of these men behind bars. The Council's role has always been to focus on the victims, to help support them before, during and after the criminal trials. No one should underestimate the trauma that these women and girls have gone through, but undoubtedly they have helped to make our communities safer places by their actions. We are constantly alert to this offending and have worked in collaboration with the police to find innovative ways to help those affected. Our experience in Newcastle has taught us that offenders of sexual exploitation target both children and adults who are vulnerable. We do not believe that what we have uncovered in Newcastle is unique. Indeed, there has been evidence of similar offending in many other towns and cities. We believe that any area that says it does not have a problem is simply not looking for it. And I would encourage all areas to be proactive in their attempts to uncover sexual exploitation. The Newcastle Adult and Children's Safeguarding Boards are jointly carrying out a serious case review into what happened and to see how we can improve safeguarding further. This is expected to be published later this year, and we will share all of the recommendations in full. Finally, I want to emphasise that from day one, our primary concern has always been for the victims of these terrible crimes. We are supporting them now, and we will continue to support them long into the future.